So give me a quick tech on Mets and Braves. They got a doubleheader today. As I mentioned with Mad Dog, Buck suspended. Mets offseason seems to have been stellar on a day that they also cut Robbie Cano. Give me something.
Yeah. So, look, newsflash, they're a better team. Obviously, by several of the moves that were made, and I'm probably going to be fixated on much of the year with Buck Showalter being hired as the manager, because I think when you get to a team that understands that the talent on paper is X, and now I have to translate that into actual wins, how do we do that? And when you have a guy like Buck, who is, as we know, as analytical and detailed as anybody, you appreciate that as a manager, because when, not if, the season goes like this, who's sitting at the end of the bench and how are they thinking? How are they getting it?
Can you see how they're thinking like now? Even like the obvious things where, where they had, it was J.D. Davis, on that appeal play, took off and kind of messed up with, the appeal. But just in a lot of different ways. How does he do that? Why is suddenly the Mets, who seemed loose, and boy, they're not making the most of what they have, suddenly it's like the complete opposite?
I'll tell you how you do it. And I had it with Billy Martin, one of my first spring trainings when I was with the Yankees. Spring training. It really, I know it was shortened this year, but certain managers or coaches and players certainly come with a pedigree, and we know what Buck comes with. You just look at it. If you don't even know the guy, you look at him and say, wow. But when you go through drills and you listen to your boss, who's in uniform with you, that's, mind you, the upstairs community of helping uniform personnel is very vital and important. I know that. I mean, you have a show on analytics, which is an important balance of it.
And they're built up, too.
They are big time built up. Look at their analytics list. It's as large as the Dodgers. But when you have a manager that is actually covered every detail of every facet, right on down to making sure that when you have a outfield drill in spring training, that where the ball and how it comes out and how it ricochets off of Citi Field, such detail that you now trust the manager and you got it covered.
Absolutely. I mean, the reputation precedes him. They knew going in who Buck Showalter is. They knew they needed to respect him. You got a $290 million payroll. You can't bring in an amateur or neophyte. You can't take a chance even if a guy's a genius or something. You think he's a genius. We know what Buck Showalter is. They know what he is. Look, he's already producing. I know they're 0-2 in the 2 games he's missed, 16-6 in the games. Obviously, that's a small sample size, but he has set a tone. I mean, I loved when he charged out there when Alonso and Lindor were hitting the head, and he charged out there. I mean, to me, that was more important than that, knowing the rules. We know he knows the rules anyway, but, I think that's one of the bigger changes with the Mets. But, you guys are absolutely right. It made big changes in terms of the personnel. The team is much better. I'm still thinking, even though they're in front, I still think they've got to prove they can beat the Braves, because they have not done it historically over the last couple decades generally. And the Braves still have a great team. They won the World Series. They're going to eventually get Soroka back.
They're still good. They're
really good. You can't go by 11-13 with them.
The difference was, and I saw, having called the games, I called 2 Braves games in the last 5 days. The big guys on the Braves are hitting. Matt Olson got off to a great start. Albies, Austin Riley looks all world. So they're fine. But the bottom of the order now, that Met team looks different. Take a look at the additions for the Mets here. Again, Eduardo Escobar, Mark Canha, Starling Marte, hitting on everything. They're all 33. Chris Bassett brought in on a trade. Max Scherzer, they just put up top money. Well, these are not the trades. This is the highest on base percentage. Take a look at the offseason additions. We have a full screen on that, too. Take a look at that. So when you see that, they hit on everybody, and Nimmo and McNeil, their homegrown guys, are also killing it. And to that point, with the bottom of the order, they battled better, had better at-bats at the end of the order, because they do have more contact guys there. Marte is a base runner, contact guy. McNeil is I think, the #1 contact hitter in the league. Nimmo is an excellent on-base guy. They're deeper than the Braves. That's different.
I mean, the contact is huge. Now, the ball has been deadened. I mean, everybody acknowledges it after the 2019 when everybody was
the game now comes back to them.
So it's important to be able to hit in the clutch, and they're hitting .268 with runners in scoring position, 30 points higher than they hit last year. I mean, .268 doesn't sound like a lot, but the league's only hitting .231.
Right.
So .268 is pretty good. McNeil's a career 300 hitter. Last year was an aberration. He's a terrific hitter. Nimmo, fantastic play. I mean, legitimately have two guys who are excellent leadoff hitters. They do the little things. They steal. To have Marte and Nimmo, they just have a very well-rounded team.
Again, Mets and Braves starting a doubleheader today. The first of a 4-game series. It felt competitive last night, where it's like Braves coming knowing, this is a very different ball club, but they're still the champs, and they've won the division 4 straight years. They usually take care of business down the stretch.